Good morning. My name is Brett, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about operational security. In 2008, there was a group of deployed soldiers who had been there for over a year. They were getting ready to fly home and excited about going home, right? Well, when it came time for them to fly home, their plane was attacked by mortar fire. And when the investigation was launched, like how did the terrorists know when they were flying out and what was going on? Turns out one of the soldiers' wives posted on Facebook that she was excited for her husband to come home at these dates and these times. And this caused them to be delayed going home by 37 days, which is a long time to be in the desert for an extra timeline like that. So, with that being said, operational security, what is it? Well, it's called OPSEC for short. And essentially, what it does is safeguards information that is highly sensitive for any kind of operation or mission. This information can be something such as the locations, personnel, dates and times, as well as what equipment was going to be present. All of these things can be combined in any kind of way, which will make it possible for a compromise or a leak through reasoning or deductive information, right? So when this came out to be, it was realized in 1988 in Vietnam that we had to have some way to do this, and that's when it was created. Operational security was created in that time frame because of compromises that was happening in Vietnam, and has ever since then been updated every 5 years, with the most recent update for the information is in 2023 by General Brown. And this training is mandated by all Department of Defense personnel, as well as certain key factors such as Department of Homeland Security and other branches of government. With that being said, the process and the policy of it is all contained in this one manual called the DoD Manual 5205. And this is the thing that sets the standard of what kind of information can be considered operational security, compromise, and what you should be cognizant of. Not only is this manual used whenever it comes to just the baseline standard of operational security, it also has a more informative thing for when it was going to be disclosed. The disclosure of any kind of operational information is not done through any of the Department of Defense or Department of Homeland Security. It's actually ran through the DRPA. And they use a process called derivative classification to basically decide when something is safe to be released to the public. And this could be anywhere from 1 year after the event to 10 to 20 years, with being the max for release of this information. With that being said, the Department of Defense also incorporates a lot of training that has to do with this. Not to mention that all personnel that work in the government have to do a yearly operational security training seminar. And when this is just the standard, hey, don't do these things, keep your mind cognizant of these things, right? The actual real OPSEC violation briefings happens whenever you are tasked with a mission or an operation. And this is hosted by your resident operational security manager, which is depending on where your location is and what their role is. But they will brief you hey, this is what's going to be happening at a classified level. These are things that we don't want to be released, and these are things you need to be worried about or cognizant of whenever it comes to disclosing this information to anyone outside these areas. And with all those things in conjunction, right, your daily training, your yearly training, as well as your briefing training, OPSEC is very, very important to the Department of Defense, and you can see why, right? So with that being said, in conclusion, we talked about what OPSEC is and why it's so important to the safety of American soldiers and just civilians at large, how it works and why it's so important, right? I hope that this was informative for you, and it allows you to kind of elaborate on more current events when it comes to operational security and the protection of American interest. Thank you, and have a great day.